Talking a little Lions and Bucks, a rematch of last January's divisional round matchup against those Bucks. And to help us do that, TJ Reeves, Bucks sideline reporter at Bucks Sideline Guy. TJ, how you doing, my friend? Thanks so much for the time.
I never know when I get brought onto these things which way it's going, and as that developed, I thought maybe the first question was going to be something on the lines of, have you ever done anything like this? So I'm glad that we're talking instead about the Lions and Buccaneers.
Right, no doubt. Well, I mean, TJ, that's for the playoff game. When the Lions and Bucks play in the playoffs again this year, maybe we'll ask you about any sex tapes that you may have out there.
First of all, you have to know this about me. I'm the straightest arrow that you can ever imagine. I'm the son of a Baptist preacher, by the way. So tread carefully here.
Those are usually the worst ones.
I do. Braylon, I was so hopeful about this Q&A.
I'm sorry.
The one point that you were making, that these things, are they ever unintentional, and is there such a thing as bad publicity, is an excellent point.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
I will leave you with that.
Appreciate talking to you as well, man.
That.
I would like to go on record and say that at the beginning of this week, actually even last week, I told Maz, we got to get TJ on. We got to get TJ on. And he was already ahead of me, but I just wanted you to know that I couldn't wait to talk to you.
Maz has been after me like Aiden Hutchinson is going to be after Baker Mayfield on Sunday. Maz
has been
for like 3 days.
You got it, brother.
I am. I have posted here.
We got you.
That is fantastic.
You're on YouTube Live, by the way.
Outstanding.
Hey, TJ, let's obviously get into it. I think, look, what Baker Mayfield has done in Tampa, I don't think a lot of people around the league expected him to come in and do what he's doing. Did people in Tampa expect this, or was this more of a hope? I mean, between, the playoffs last year and then even through week one this year, I mean, Tampa looked as good as any week one team in the NFL this year.
I think that's fair offensively, because they scored and scored and scored some more. The truthful answer is, I think most fans were skeptical. That's the word that I will use, about whether or not he was going to work out or not. Because again, this is post Tom Brady, who's now retired. This is a quarterback on a 1-year prove-it contract, $4 million contract, which is minimum wage in quarterback salaries. They make 10 times that now. Braylon, you played in the wrong era, brother.
Man, you
should have been playing now.
You ain't lying.
Where you don't even have to be any good and you make $5 million.
Okay.
But in any event, back to Baker Mayfield, my line is, and this is the truth, he had been passed around, speaking of preachers, like the offering plate at church. He had been in Cleveland, he had been in Carolina, then the Rams at the end of the same season with Carolina, and then the Bucks within 3 football seasons. So I think there was a lot of skepticism. But the guy obviously delivered even at the beginning of last season with a huge road opening win at Minnesota, won again in the Superdome in week 3. I know they had a lull in the middle, but they won one key game after another. And I remember being on with you guys in January, and you kept asking me, hey, this team is on a roll at the end of the year. Went to Atlanta and won in the final minute. Went to Green Bay, where they had never won a December game in franchise history in numerous tries at Lambeau in December, and they won the game, and then proceed to win the division and win a playoff game. So now you fast forward, I think there is a lot of optimism. Now there's a lot of expectation, and Baker is saying and doing all the right things so far about not just being the Buccaneer quarterback in 2024, but for years to come. He's got a real opportunity to put roots down here and be the guy. Really, for the first time in his career, this looks like the opportunity that could be his for several more years.
And he seems to be a guy that wears a chip on his shoulder, too. Even this year, I mean, if you look coming in, how many of the experts just automatically gave this division to the Atlanta Falcons with Kirk Cousins and everything they've got going on? Everything they've got going on over there in Atlanta, I feel like this is still the Bucs division to lose, is it not?
We have all been trying down here to figure out and understand, why would you back an Atlanta team with Kirk Cousins at 36 years of age off an Achilles injury? I submit it's one sample size, but look at Atlanta last week. They're going to be a work in progress. And I have much love for Raheem Morris, because remember, he was the Buccaneers coach long before he was the interim Atlanta coach and the Rams defensive coordinator, now back in Atlanta. Raheem's radio shows, his pregame and postgame stuff. But how can anybody objectively look at them putting pieces together with a new coaching staff and say that this is better than the pieces that the Buccaneers have with Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rashad White in the backfield, Levante David in the middle of the defense? I know he's hurt, Braylon, but Antoine Winfield is fantastic. Now, he's hurt for this Lions game early, but if you look on paper at what the Buccaneers have coming back as the defending division champs, we haven't bought into that in West Central Florida here in this area. I don't think anybody's bought into, hey, they're chasing the Atlanta Falcons early on in this year.
Yeah, 100%. And last time I checked, the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. When's the last time the Falcons have been there? So I'm on par with you. Antoine Winfield not playing, Kalijah Kancey kind of questionable. So, but I'm not worried about that. That'll play itself out. Those guys that comes back, and they will be a good defense. I want to focus on the guy at the helm, Todd Bowles, kind of thrown away with the New York Jets. He comes down here, plays under, coaches under Bruce Arians, gets himself back together, takes over a team that we thought, Maz, last year that, hey, they're setting him up for failure.
Yep.
They'll have a losing season. They'll fire him. They're bringing in Baker Mayfield. He's going to have a losing season. This will be it for him. He'll become a backup, but not so fast. Todd Bowles has been authentic, and Todd Bowles has been very good in the last 19 games.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And they have rallied around him the same way they've rallied around Baker Mayfield. And he gets it. He understands. It's a young roster. All right, on opening day, it was the second youngest roster in the NFL, believe it or not.
Ooh.
But that being said, you've got guys, again, like Evans, Godwin, the left tackle, Wirfs, Levante David, Vita Vea, the humongous defensive tackle, Winfield, Jamel Dean. They all won a Super Bowl, as you referenced. So you've got veterans that have done this before to help with the younger guys. And just some insight that last week during the game, Levante David on more than one occasion on the sideline or even out on the field had his arm around one of the younger players going, listen, you cannot do this or you've got to do that. And he's having to do that on the practice field, meeting room, etc., locker room, on going over with the younger guys. This is not college football anymore for some of them. This is the big time. This is the NFL. Here's how they call it. Here's what they are going to call, as best as any of us can tell. What are they going to call or not from the officiating? So he's really taken a leadership role. But I make the point, they have enough veteran pieces that won a Super Bowl over the Chiefs to sprinkle in with all the young guys. And Bowles, again, not only the coach of the Jets, Bowles was winning as the defensive coordinator previously with Arians at Arizona. Bowles has played in the National Football League. I know it's going back a little while. There's a lot of credibility with Todd Bowles, and in my world, he is fantastic to deal with. You know what we do? We root for guys who are fantastic to deal with. Keep winning and make the sideline guy, the interview guy's life a little easier. You love that?
I definitely love that, and I love the fact when you have a defensive-minded coach, when you get offense to play as well as this offense is playing, it's a scary situation. It's kind of like the Houston Texans, DeMeco Ryan, head coach, defensive guy, but that offense is rolling. That offense is rolling because of a guy that has been there that does not get enough credit, and that is Mike Evans. I have been lobbying for this guy for a very long time, saying, look, he's one of the top 7. Like, I never take him out of my top 7 because every year he's going to give you how many yards? He's going to give you how many touchdowns? Yep. Let's talk about what he's been in consistency and how he's able to do it. Because everybody knows, but he still somehow finds a way to get you that touchdown and 100 yards.
Yeah, he's been tremendous. And I know it's a one-game sample size, but just go ask the Washington Commanders about whether just ask the Commanders whether number 13 can get open or not, and whether he can still make plays or not. He is, and he's double teamed a bunch. And I don't know how much the Lions are going to roll the safety over to him, probably, and double team him on Sunday to maybe open up something for some other guys. But he's facing those double teams and realizes I'm not going to get a lot of opportunity in single coverage. I've got to operate kind of underneath with the route running. In the red zone, he is a terror because of the long arms and the catch radius. You saw that in the playoff game last year where they went to him down around the red zone and around the goal line for a touchdown in the second half of the game. And I love this. I keep sharing this with everybody. If all things are equal and he ends up catching for 1,000 yards in an 11th straight season, here's the all-time NFL list of 11 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Jerry Rice and potentially Mike Evans.
Wow.
That's a list to be on. There's the list. There's the list on a Thursday if Evans keeps going, and it tells you how good he's been, how consistent he's been, and let's see if it keeps up. He's a big key to the Buccaneers' success, not just this Sunday, but long term.
Some lists don't matter. That one does.
Hell yeah.
That's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
Where did you end up ranking in receiving? Oh, it's me and Jerry Rice.
Not bad.
Hall of Fame.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Hey, TJ Reeves joins us, Tampa Bay Buccaneers sideline guy, our good friend. By the way, our technical director, Pete, has your nameplate, TJ, in creamsicle and white. All right? So my favorite colors that the Tampa Bay Bucs wore of all time.
Yeah, I mean, and we were in the creamsicles, the Buccaneers, last year for the regular season game, and that didn't work out.
I know.
That didn't work out so well with the cream. They have not won very much in the creamsicles. They'll put them on again this year, but I appreciate that. I appreciate the bowing to the old Bucco Bruce and the orange of the 70s, 80s, and early 90s.
To me, it's still the best logo ever. I love that logo. Loved it as a kid, still love it today. But that brings me to the games that we've played against the Buccaneers. 2 games last year. Here it is, game number 3. It's hard to beat a team 3 straight times like this, especially, coming off it's a tough game. It's a preseason game number 2, basically, for the Lions. They didn't play anybody in the preseason. So last week against the Rams, they had the rust on them. They finally got loose in the fourth quarter. So here come the Buccaneers. What can they take into this game, TJ, from last year's playoff loss? Is it a little easier to come in here now?
Well, I think you got a chip on your shoulder, number one. Number two, you knew Jared Goff. I mean, Jared Goff diced him up in the game in Tampa, and they gave him too much time to throw. He was 30 of 40 in that game. 30 of 40 is ridiculous, even without defense, like in practice, going 30 of 40. So I think what you take away here is the Bucs have got to do a better job in maybe varying it up. When they bring the blitz, you got to get home. Somebody's got to hit him. Somebody's got to sack him, because there were several times, especially in the playoff game, where they're bringing the 5th rusher, the 6th guy even, and nobody gets home. And now you're in big trouble because Goff suddenly finds somebody that's wide open because of that extra second where you didn't get to him and you didn't hit him. So that's something to watch here for this game. I'll tell you another thing. Can the Buccaneers establish something on the ground? What's different than January? Liam Cohen, the new offensive coordinator, who was with Sean McVay for numerous years in L.A. McVay was the play caller, but Cohen was the coordinator. They worked with Baker Mayfield at the end of that 2022 season for 5 games. That's one of the reasons why Cohen's a good fit with Mayfield here in Tampa Bay. So he wants to run the ball, and you've got a new, different zone blocking scheme. The bootleg, the zone runs, they ran it effectively at times. 1 game sample size against Washington. And you're right. I mean, Maz, the Bucs didn't play in the preseason either. The starters only played 1 series in the final game. So last week was like the full dress rehearsal almost that was an actual game. But let's see if the Bucs can run the ball some. They did not run it very well in either game with the Lions last year. Can they get the ground game going? And you're going to have fun watching this kid, Bucky Irving, out of Oregon, the rookie. He is small, number 7, puts that foot in the ground, though. Great cutback runner. He's going to be fun as a 1-2 punch with Rachaad White if the Bucs can get the ground game going.
37 points last week. Not too bad for an opening act.
Only the New Orleans Saints scored more last week. You look at that NFC South. Is this the new?
It's the Wild West.
What this division?
Yeah,
My
you
goodness.
You look at Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh looked like they weren't going to score 37 points if you left them in the building for 8 quarters, and yet they still won the game with Atlanta. Bucs didn't punt till late in the third quarter. They had scored 5 straight possessions to start the game. And again, I'll just emphasize, they want to run it and establish it. Who doesn't? Especially with the loud crowd early on in the game. Try to move the chains, get the crowd out of the game a little bit, get an early score if they can, but set things up for later. Braylon, you can speak to this with play action, with the bootlegs. Again, this is a different offense for Dan Campbell's staff here to have to deal with, where they're looking to use bootleg, run action one way with the zone blocking, bootleg out the other way, throw it, or have Baker take off. There's more of that involved in this offense, and we've only seen a small sample of it so far. So this is going to be a fascinating chess match here in matchup number 3, like we keep talking about.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I mean, you can just look at the Detroit Lions last year. The Detroit Lions, Jared Goff was outstanding in the passing game, but why were they so successful? It's because they could run the ball with David Montgomery as well.
Run the ball. Amen.
Hey, we won a national championship running the ball, so, hey, look, I get it. I definitely get it.
Run the ball. It sets everything else up.
Hey, TJ, I'll leave you with this. How's our guy Larry Foote doing over there in Tampa Bay?
Oh, the foot doctor.
We love him. We love everything with again, these are personable guys that Todd Bowles has, and it varies from coaching staff to coaching staff. And certainly when you win the division, as they have done now 3 years in a row, you make the playoffs, you win a playoff game last year. Everybody's enjoying this. It's interesting that Dave Canales took Harold Goodwin, one of the assistants, with him to Carolina.
It's a Michigan guy.
But Todd Bowles' staff is mostly intact, with the exception of new offensive coordinator, and they have a new special teams coordinator as well. But most of the staff, most of the assistants are intact, including Coach Foote. So, yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be loud. It's a 4 Advil game for me, 2 before, 2 after, with the loud noise because I'm getting older. My hand is up. But this will be a lot of fun. This will be a lot of fun to see what it looks like this time around. And I don't think it's oversimplifying things. If they give Jared Goff time to throw like what he had in the previous 2 meetings, it's big trouble. That is as big a key as anything in this game Sunday.
Is that big Harold Goodwin from University of Michigan?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah,
and then also with us and with Bruce Arians for many years. Correct.
Yeah, I played with his brother, Jonathan Goodwin. He played for the Saints, Pro Bowler for the Saints.
So there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, TJ, we wish
it all comes back to Braylon. It all comes back to Braylon.
Hey, we wish you the Buccaneers were still in our division back in the old day. Then we could have talked to you twice a year at least, man. You're terrific. Thank you.
I still think we're getting them twice this year. I still think we're getting you twice this
Playoffs
year.
again?
January.
Let's go.
January.
Let's go.
That's
Hopefully in
right.
the second round, though. That means you would win that division again, maybe even, yeah. I like the second round.
TJ,
Love
can't
that.
thank you enough for your time, my friend. Enjoy Detroit. Not sure how much time you get to spend here, but have a Coney if you're here, okay?
We'll do it. You guys be well. Good
All right,
to be
my
with you.
friend. You
TJ.
got it.
Thanks.
TJ Reeves on X at Bucks Sideline Guy. Check him out. Always great to catch
Remember
up
the
with you
Bucks
guys.
were in our division.
Absolutely.
NFC North.
Love that. NFC Central.